Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Cooper, and today I'm joined by the main man himself, Dave Azzopardi. Dave, how you doing, son?
Very well, thank you, Matt. Very well. Looking forward to it as always.
Of course. And we're joined by another Talking Wolves regular in the form of Jord Russell. Jord, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm all good, thank you.
Good. Good weekend? Good bank holiday?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Went to the game yesterday. A few dog walks. Went to watch some cricket on Saturday, so can't complain.
Very leisurely.
Yeah.
It's a sign of age, that, mate. No nights out on the town?
Nah, I can't do it anymore, mate. Forget it.
Under the thumb or age or both?
Age, mate. Honestly, you're getting me a reputation being under the thumb. I'll tell you now.
Mate,
he spent time with her. He said he was walking the dog, so he spent some time with her.
Hey, whoa. Fucking hell.
Well, I mean, people can make their own minds up about whether you've been under the thumb. But as we like to say on this podcast, there is no smoke without fire. Dave, what about you, mate? Good bank holiday?
Yeah, it was a quiet one for me. Obviously, the game as well. No nights out. Went to do a little bit of work on my house today, which is a very slow process. But yeah, fingers crossed I can be in it sooner rather than later.
It's been a while. You've had that about a year now, haven't you?
9 months, man. Still not living there. It's doing my head in. So,
bloody hell. What's the hold up?
Building work, mate. Building work. Any good builders that want to do it for a good rate and not rip me off, then just drop me a message, please. You're available now.
Yeah, a new kitchen in for a readout on Talking Wolves.
Yeah,
seems like a good offer, gents. I feel like since the last time we did a podcast, like about 4 months has happened. I feel like so much has gone on. I mean, on today's podcast, we'll be covering Wolves versus Preston in the Carabao Cup, Wolves versus Newcastle. We're previewing Bournemouth v Wolves and Wolves v Southampton. But let's start off with the Carabao Cup game, Dave. Wolves versus Preston. Bit of squad rotation. Good to see us have a go. Jimenez come back in. Semedo, then Donker. Started well, didn't we?
Yeah, first half was good. Well, let's say first 40 minutes maybe. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. It was good to see. We had pretty much full control of the game. Saw a couple of players. Well, firstly, it was great to see such a strong team. That was, I'd spoken a little bit about it. I think on the last podcast, I was thinking a rotated team. Everyone wanted to go for it a little bit more. And yeah, pleasantly surprised at how strong it was. And it was good to see us, have a proper go. And score a couple of good goals. The Jimenez one was really well worked. A lovely ball through by Kilman to Ait-Nouri to put it on a plate for Jimenez. And then obviously the Adama Traore finish I thought was fantastic as well. So yeah, good to see us have a go. But I'll let yourself or Jord talk about what happened after that.
Jord, the first goal was a really nice bit of play, wasn't it? And it was good to see Wolves' fullbacks utilising that space and getting behind. I know when we spoke yesterday, just between us two, you identified that Wolves' fullbacks have been really under par this season.
Yeah, I think they've been a bit reserved, and that's sort of been by actually doing the switch of formation, which we'll probably get on through the rest of the podcast. Is if anything, it's made us look a little bit more vulnerable going forward than it was previously. But I really like the first goal. I think it's Kilman, naturally forward progression of the ball, play the ball in between the fullback and the centre half. And that's the sort of goal where you see Man City score every week. Inside the fullback, centre half, fullback or the winger taps it across, and it's just tapping at the back post, and it's undefendable. Those sort of goals, it's great movement. It's just good football, and I know it's Preston. No disrespect to them, but that sort of ball by Max Kilman will open up most defences in Europe, and yeah, it was a good goal.
You say it's only Preston and no disrespect for them, but they probably could have beat us in the second half, mate. They were all over us, and we were hanging on a little bit, Dave. What?
Yeah.
Go on, son. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah, I mean, the goal was poor from us. I think in terms of we should have either moved the ball or got rid of the ball a lot quicker, and obviously just giving them that half chance. To be fair, the finish was it Woodburn?
Liverpool, Ben Woodburn.
Yeah. So it was a good finish from him, across his body into across the goal, and right at the end of the game they gave us a few scares as well, but. It was disappointing the second half with how well we did, and I don't know if it was the penalty incident that sort of almost killed our momentum. But yeah, we looked poor and almost the same story that we've seen for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Just lacked ideas in front of goal. We moved the ball, held possession, controlled the game quite well. But other than that, didn't threaten Preston a hell of a lot in the second half.
No, Jord. Let's go back to Traore's goal. Looked a little bit like his former self, better than what he did at Spurs. But it's a wonderful finish on his weaker foot. Where's he been hiding now? He did something similar in the cup against Palace, didn't he, last season or season before?
Yeah, you can't take it away from him. It's an unbelievable finish, but that's where Traore is at his best when he doesn't have to think about it. It all happened so quickly. It just popped up and just hit it, and not had to think about it. If you said, they got one of the coaches to throw the ball up like out on the edge of the box, say, not do that with your right foot, he wouldn't do that again because he's got to think about it. It just all happened so quickly. I think Tomato was good in the goal as well. He almost was that little backboard and flicked it up for him, and you can't take anything away from him. But again, I was still largely quite disappointed with Traore bar the goal. Mm-hmm. He was, I think, he flattered to deceive, and it's tough. I still don't really know what to do with Traore, but he's playing. It was 1-on-1 versus Daniel Johnson. If anyone knows anything about sort of like Preston or Championship, he's more so like a central midfielder, if not like a bit more of an advanced player. And I don't think I don't think he really got the better of him, especially in the second half as well. And I was quite disappointed that he didn't get the better of him. And yeah, it's just another problem we've got. I think at the moment there's a lot of question marks against a lot of things going on at Wolves at the minute.
I thought that Daniel Johnson played quite well,
really?
In terms of nullifying the threat down that. Showed a good level of pace, but also just like
Adama's runs were just wrong though, because the whole first half, he should be on the last man and trying to make the runs down the line, and he kept trying to come inside, and they were just tracking his run every single time. He was bar the goal where we moved the ball quite quickly. He was like just not getting into the right areas whatsoever. And then I did mention it on the review, and for some strange reason, some website did a whole article about how I slagged Adama Traore off, or making out that I wasn't impressed.
Is it MSN?
Yeah, something like that. And I was like,
so
making out that I've got some sort of agenda here. But I was, the goal was fantastic, but I think there was still a lot more that he could have added to his performance overall.
I agree. Jord, I'm going to ask you about a certain Hwang Hee-chan, because I know you're a big fan of his. Win the penalty. It's a soft penalty. Firstly, what did you think of Jimenez's decision to give him the penalty? And secondly, what did you think of the execution of it?
Don't mind
without getting yourself getting cancelled.
No.
We said before the podcast, don't ask me about Jimenez and don't ask me about Hwang, and here we are asking you about both.
Right, so Hwang, I don't necessarily mind what Jimenez did in that game. In terms of giving him the penalty, we were 2-0 up. It was very comfortable at that stage. You go and get the third goal, it's game over effectively. And I think it's actually, I applaud Jimenez for doing it. Obviously, Hwang's a bit short of confidence, or he was short of confidence before the penalty. God knows what his confidence is like now. But it was. I'll be honest with you, the penalty, he just never looked confident, did he? Standing over the ball, never looked confident, and. I know Dave's been rustling feathers and causing aggro on Twitter, not supporting players.
He was a disgrace, though, uploading that one.
Yeah, it's really, really sad and shady.
You're meant to be supporting the team when you're uploading penalty misses, man.
I've already had my rant on the transfer podcast. I'm not having another one.
The profile you've got, you are the man for Wolves Twitter, and you're putting him under the bus like that, man. You should be ashamed of yourself.
But back to the penalty, like I say, he was standing over the penalty. I said to my mate, I was with my mate Lee. I said, look. He's going to miss this. He's just going to miss it. And I'll be honest with you, you could have hit the penalty harder with your cock, couldn't you? It was so feeble. It was so weak. It was just and it's just as soon as it happens, you just see the confidence drain off him. And he's at the point now where you can hear the crowd. The crowd, every time he gets the ball, everyone's like, "Oh, fuck it, not him." Oh, fuck. But obviously it's translating to him on the pitch now, and you can see it just sapping out of him. I feel really sorry for him.
Well, I was sitting in the North Bank, as everyone knows, and I sit next to my brother. And as soon as Hwang picked the penalty up, my brother wears glasses, and I went, I just took him off his face, and I went, just to be safe here. Dave, what's your thoughts on the incident? I don't want it to be a Hwang bashing because we've still got the Newcastle game to review, but it's fucking hell. I feel for the bloke. But what's your thoughts on it?
The actual overall performance was okay. Like you said, I think it was a soft pen. I think as soon as Raul Jimenez passed him the ball, I thought he's not going to score. But I don't know. Jimenez should have just taken it, kill the game off. That's it then. Because even at 2-0, against any side, you can still be vulnerable.
It's a dangerous scoreline, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, everyone knows my thoughts on the incident. So, yeah, bad penalty, gash player. There we go.
He looks like he's carrying a bag of coal on his back, doesn't he? Like the way he's playing. I do feel for him a little bit because, I know everyone says, "Oh, he's paid a load of money," but he must feel absolutely terrible at the minute. And I think you can see that, like you said, in his play. But it looks like he might be edging out the door at Molineux if a suitable offer comes in for him. But just to round that game up, Jord, I personally feel that a team with, and I know it's, well, of course they would, but a team with a little bit more quality probably would have put us to bed that night.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were, I think I messaged you guys, didn't I? I said, this is going to penalties. It was just felt like they're going to get something here. And, the second half performance couldn't actually, take anything away from Preston. And I don't even think they were that good. We just did nothing. That's my big frustration of Wolves at the moment under Bruno Lage. Any time we get in front, we just sort of. I don't even know what it is like. For me, I've always been brought up with when you got an opponent on the ropes, just kneel on them, strangle them, go and get 3, 4, 5. If the team's edge, go and just keep. That's your best way of defence. And we just invite so much pressure on against teams where why are we standing 10 yards off Preston, letting them pop it round? We've got the quality just to fucking steamroll them, and we just sort of sit back, play our shape. Yes, we got through the tie, but if we were playing Leeds like we've got in the next round, I think they'd have beat us.
They'd have dicked us.
Yeah,
they'd have dicked us. I thought Martinho and Nunes played well, but not going to laud them with plaudits because they should. They're playing against Preston, but it's not a great day at the office. It surprises me though, Jordan, what you say there, because when Lage was at Benfica and now he had a better side against mostly teams who they were better than. He's a lot of games. He went in for the kill, and we've all seen the 10-0. But Dave, when you spoke to, was it Alex you did the Nunes video with?
Yeah.
Did he say that that in Portugal, Lage has got a little bit of a reputation of being quite defensive?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was based on us last year with how negative he was, rather than his time at Benfica. So. Yeah, that's what he said the reputation was for Bruno Lage. But it surprised me when he said that, to be fair.
Well, seems to be ringing true at the moment. That was Wolves versus Preston. We move on to the game that was on Sunday in the Premier League, 2:00 kickoff. It was Wolves versus Newcastle. Dave, coming into this game, did you earmark this as a game that we should be winning?
Not necessarily should be winning, but I felt, it was a game that we could really have a good go at. And I think at 1:00 when the teams are out and looking at the teams, I thought we've got a really good shot here. Obviously, no Callum Wilson, which we knew of. No Alexander Isak even in the squad, which I think a few Wolves fans are worried about. And obviously the big one was no Bruno Guimaraes. And I think you look at that midfield battle, we should be winning that every day of the week. So, yeah, I knew Newcastle were going to be a tough game. They've strengthened in the right areas. I think they've still got this really strong momentum coming in from last year under Eddie Howe. And yeah, with the lineups, I thought we should have had enough to possibly edge and try and get a win.
You say that about momentum from last season. I think that's what's happened to us as well. We look hungover. We look pretty much the same beast. But Jord, good to see Semedo back in the starting lineup, and it was a fairly bright start, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game, and granted, I think I said on the last pod, I think Semedo's probably our best fullback, and coming off the pitch after that game, he's the best fullback on the pitch, let alone the best fullback in a Wolves squad. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, against that St. Maximin, and like I say, we had a bright start, and I thought it was, I thought it was a very good game between.
A lot of energy.
Two relatively even sides. I've got, we'll probably go on to it, and I've got a few points I'd like to make about it, but negatives. But actually, how we started the game, I thought we started off really brightly. I thought Neto probably should have scored when Guedes put the ball across to him. But yeah, it was a good game, and I thought we were well worth our lead at half time for me.
Yeah, Dave, first half thoughts.
Yeah, good. Better team in the first half of 4. Had a couple of opportunities knocking on the door. I think the key one, where played it across the box and Neto, obviously just over the bar, but the goal was fantastic by Neves as well. We all sort of every time he gets the ball from range, we all shout and shoot. Obviously,
out of hope more than
yeah,
anything.
exactly. Really good layoff by Guedes, and it's a top finish for a crowd of players as well. So just a perfect finish by Neves. So yeah, going in at half time with a 1-goal lead, without us actually being tested too much, was okay. I think first half they had a couple of chances. I think Chris Wood's movement off the ball was pretty decent in the first half. He had that one chance where he just went a little bit wide and tried to round Jose Sarr. I think the communication at times between Sarr and Semedo could have been a little bit better in that first half. There was once or twice where they both went for the same ball, and once or twice where Sarr actually didn't come off his line for something where he probably should have done. But yeah, there was, bar the shaky moments, we looked in control in the first half, to be honest.
We did look in control, I agree. But for me, that moment of brilliance from Neves, and it's been the same story for the last 2 seasons. We're relying on individual pieces of brilliance to score goals. Jord, for me, it's papering over the cracks. We're creating absolutely nothing.
No, I agree with that. I think there's a few problems with that. I think Jimenez, for me, if he was a racehorse, had been put down. I just think he's so. I don't know what he offers anymore. He's unbelievable striker in his heyday for us. And again, there's a lot of mitigating factors where I'm not going to slag him off. The bloke almost fucking died. But he doesn't offer anything to us anymore. No one can tell me that he's a good striker. He's a good Premier League striker anymore. The movement's awful. He didn't hold the ball up that well anymore. I just don't think he offers a lot anymore. And that's a real sad thing for me to say. And I'm not getting on his back in terms of this agenda of sack him, sell him, whatever. But we need an upgrade. And I do think that Kaladzic will be that upgrade, or at least that's another option for us. For me, coming out of the game or watching the game, especially in that second half, the big thing for me is everyone's been going wax lyrical about the midfield three at Wolves: Nunes, Moutinho, Neves. It stands up against any in European football for me. Technically, yes, but we had 33% possession, I think, or 34% possession against Newcastle. And the big thing for me is the dynamism of the midfield. Willock and Joe Linton were running us and running us and running us, and they're not better footballers than what we've got on the pitch. But I think the system we're playing, you always need another Nunes. You need someone who's going to be up and down. You need 2 box-to-boxes. Moutinho, if you're playing Moutinho and Neves, great, but I think you need to switch it and play a 4-2-3-1. I've seen enough of it now. Whether that is playing Podence in the hole or that is just pushing Nunes 15 yards further up the pitch. We just kept getting outran by Joe Linton, Willock. They kept popping up in areas, and we were there was overloads. And it just, for me, Newcastle deserved that point. I know how it came was fucking shit, but they deserved the point, and I can't begrudge it at all.
You're right about the midfield, though. A way of being able to play through the lines is you have your midfielders almost like one in front of the other, or one just in front, whereas ours are just stood in the line. And you're exactly right about Joe Linton, Willock. I remember where I was sat, Joe Linton picking the ball up on the half space and just driving at the back four. I'm like, where's our player that does that? And where's the midfield? But Dave, what is the issue at the minute in terms of Wolves? Why aren't they creating chances? Because the squad itself is probably as good a squad we've had in the Premier League. We're committing more players forward because we've gone to a back four. But if anything, we look worse in front of goal.
I think it's the decision making more than anything. There were times, the best move that we had yesterday in the second half was the goal that was disallowed, because everything about that was a perfect counter attack. And I know we sort of outnumbered them because it was 3-on-1, and it was a great ball by Neto. Good finish, obviously, by him in his right place, right time. And obviously it was disallowed. We did have another 3 or 4 counter-attacks in that game where the wrong decision was made. A lot of them actually were led by Matheus Nunes. A couple of times he did drive forward, and that's exactly what we want him to do. And whether that was Núñez, where he wasn't picking the right pass, I think the movement off the ball sometimes was poor. Jimenez's attitude at times was just embarrassing as well. A couple of times when he's moaning and whinging, I thought like Jimenez, like look back at that moment, looking in at the space that you've occupied versus the other person, and you're just not, like you're running into nowhere.
There was one.
The Núñez when he broke and he pulled to the left-hand side of the box.
That was it,
instead of
that was
dragging
like
the
maybe
player
10,
out.
15 minutes to go or something like that. Still we 1-0 up.
Yeah.
So I think that's more, we're getting the actual sort of build up to it is not too bad. We're making the right steps, but it's as soon as we enter that final third, we're like, oh, okay, what do we need to do now? Because it's almost as if none of these players are on the same wavelength whatsoever. And maybe that'll come because there are some, Núñez is a new player, Guedes is a new player as well. And I'm hoping someone like Kaladzic is going to come in and just be someone that's a bit more confident in front of goal, someone that can hold the ball up and bring other players into play a little bit better, and someone that's going to offer an option in the area. Because once again, there were too many times where we were trying to walk that ball into the back of the net yesterday.
I think he might, if you get someone like Traore in, I think he might try and even up for like the 4-2-2-2 or a 4-4-2 as he played when, you have Kaladzic up front and then one of Guedes or Pedence in behind. I think that would work well if Traore's got enough dynamic. But then it's like, who do you drop? Because you've got to play Neves, you've got to play Núñez. So it's a difficult one.
Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah. It's just like a 4-2-3-1, really, though, isn't it? And I think, I know we'll come on to the Bournemouth game, but that's exactly how I'd play against Bournemouth anyway.
Yeah, like you said, though, it was that final ball. Like, it's just, I don't get it, though, because it is basic football. There was one where Pedence took the ball on a half turn, great turn, and then Núñez was running on, and it was a simple 10-yard weighted pass, and he's put it on the ring road. Like, it's so frustrating to watch though, because it's like you said, it's that final ball, and it's not because they're no good. We know that these are quality players, but I just don't get what Bruno's trying to do. Jord, we've seen a lot of criticism for Bruno on the timeline. A lot of people calling for his head already. Do you think that's a little bit premature?
For now, yeah, but I don't think it's unwarranted, the criticism. I think I always was a firm believer last season that he didn't get backed. Pretty much Nuno's squad, he just didn't get backed. I think the fact that he's bought Núñez, Guedes, Collins, spent 100 million quid, you'd expect better, or at least I now think he's culpable for the performances a lot more now than he was last season. And for me, nothing's changed. There's a bit of a hangover, like you say, from last season where I feel like, and I've said it on here before, I feel like we're going to batter someone. I generally do feel like it's just going to click and we're just going to end up scoring 5-6. But like I was at the Newcastle game, I was just so frustrated because I thought it was a massive chance to get, especially when you saw the two lineups out, I thought it was a massive chance to get 3 points. And I'd come away shocked about, the lack of possession. And like, that's the worrying thing for me is like, I feel like Núñez, Moutinho, Neves should have a lot more ball of fucking Sean Longstaff, Joe Linton and Willock. And we lost the midfield battle.
But the runners aren't they? They've got iron lungs. They'll just keep going and going. And for as good as technically as two of our three are, they couldn't run a fucking bath.
No. And that's the problem, isn't it? It's almost like the same with like the wingers. We've got a lot of similar profile players at Wolves. We haven't got people who do a different thing for you. And I think that's where Kaladzic is going to be a different... Who knows how good he's going to be for us? I'm not saying he's going to be the saviour or gets 30 goals a season, but he'll offer us something different, completely different to what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Fans are pinning the hopes on the new striker coming in and it's going to fix. But Dave, I don't think it's going to help, but I don't think that's the magic wand, do you?
I don't know. I think it's hard. It's hard to tell. I think it's a bit of both. I think we do need somebody different up there. We're talking about Kaladzic. He's going to bring something completely different, something that we've not seen for a long, long time at Wolves, and it's a real heightened physical presence up top. Something that Bruno Lage was used to a lot more at Benfica with, someone like Haris Seferovic. So it could work. But obviously the issue for the fans is that although, well, it's actually creating the opportunities. Yes, like Spurs, for argument's sake, yeah, we had 20 shots, but none of them were clear-cut opportunities, really, or very little of them were clear-cut opportunities. So it's the matter of the fact. Well, the matter of the fact is, yes, you're signing a striker, but is that going to solve the chance-creating issues? And I think that's what everyone is a little bit worried about. And I don't think we're going to know that until Saturday and beyond, because I'm not sure he'll be ready for Wednesday's game. So Saturday, and then you're going into a really tough run of fixtures. So it's something that I don't think is going to be solved anytime soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll come on to the next group of fixtures in a bit, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, which was the Newcastle United goal. Listening to TalkSport today and yesterday, and I tend to switch off when I talk about Wolves because it pisses me off because you get lazy pundits who have watched Match of the Day and make assumptions, whereas obviously we've watched every single minute and every game, and you know exactly what they're going to say. And the whole narrative was Alan Maximan. He was the best player on the pitch. He was world class. He run Wolves ragged. Jord, apart from the goal, I thought Semedo absolutely did a job on him.
Semedo had him in his pocket, didn't he? That's what I mean. It's that lazy journalism piece. It's very easy to say, he did X, Y, and Z. He took his goal. As much as you want to slag Lang off, fucking unreal finish. And you can see me on the highlight because I was on NL4. And as soon as he hit the back of the net, I've just went, I've just said, "Oh, fuck off," and I've just walked straight. I've just gone.
I walked straight out, yeah,
straight out. I've just gone. I was just like, "Fuck off!" I just can't be bothered to, I didn't even say bye to anyone. I was like, "Fuck this, I'm off." Unbelievable finish, but earlier on, Semedo, I thought Semedo was the best player on the pitch. He won his duels, won his battles. So Maximan will give a lot of people a real tough afternoon, and I still think you've got to be switched on. There's only the one time where Semedo got it slightly wrong, where he brought him up, took him out at the halfway line, didn't he? He got the booking and whatever. But that was sensible fullback play. It was he stopped a potential danger breakaway. I've got the same problem with you though. It's like even with Sky Sports and all that sort of stuff. Like with Wolves, there's a very lazy narrative that people throw around, and we don't seem to get represented well. It's we don't create chances, we don't score goals, we don't do this, we don't do that, and it's just lazy. It's just it pisses me off. But I've sort of derailed there. But yeah, I did think Semedo had some Maximan in his back pocket all day, to be honest.
Yeah, you say not represented. We did have an approach from TalkSport this week, but we're staying away from it because they're just a bit of a nightmare. But Dave, substitution for Wolves. Hwang Hee-chan comes on. You're rubbing your hands together, licking your lips, thinking 2-0, bosh, game over. Talk us through that fucking clearance, mate. I mean, it's good to see, he's back in form, putting a lovely ball back into the area, in a dangerous area, just at the wrong end.
Yeah, I still, and this is probably where I'm going to sort of almost contradict myself, and I've seen the same argument on Twitter today, is, yes, I was disappointed with Adama Traore's performance against Preston, but I think 99% of the fans in that ground knew yesterday that if Adama Traore came on at 1-0 against Matty Target or Dan Burn at the time, we were going to create a lot more opportunities. And that's why there was some, Bruno Lage with that can't really win because, last week people were moaning that he got subbed on. Then yesterday, people were moaning that he didn't get subbed on. And I suppose it's just making the right decision at the right time. And that's why he's, the head coach and he's got that difficult decision. He's brought on Hwang, obviously. And, backs are sort of against the wall. We know Newcastle are going to have more of the ball than us. And we know they're going to be attacking a little bit more. But I said this yesterday to many people. The one rule that you are taught as a child when you're playing football is never just hopelessly knock it across your own goal. It was a dreadful clearance. If he doesn't think he's going to get a sweet connection on it, just put it out for a throw and put it out for a corner, because even their corners were pretty poor for most of the game. But no, he's almost volleyed it right onto the edge of the box. I think Wolves could have reacted a little bit quicker. Other players could have possibly tried to close it down a bit sooner. And it's a top finish by St. Maximin. But it's so avoidable. And it all came from that clearance. But I remember, I think my girlfriend was watching our text saying, please don't tell me that was Hwang Hee-chan who just blasted it across his own box. And she said, yeah. And that was it. And then we kick off and the ball comes over the top and he couldn't trap it. crap first touch again, and the whole of it, like the South Bank was like, fucking hell.
It must be
And
horrible feeling,
yeah,
man.
and
Like,
he
it
just
must be
turned
a
his back.
horrible
Like
feeling.
the whole of it, you just felt the negativity. It's like, Jesus Christ, like
He'll be begging for a move out, and like he's been poor, but God, it must be fucking horrible having like 30,000 people like just screaming, booing at you. Like it must be a real lonely place.
No,
but
he's gash, man. I don't.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, not like me to be sensitive. I call for Nuno's head about we're Europa League quarterfinals. So, but I disagree on the Traore thing. I don't think, and George, you may agree or disagree. I think if you bring him on, I don't think you can trust him. I don't think you can trust him to get in the right areas and pick the ball up and run. I just don't think he plays that role well. I just don't think he's got it up there.
No, or mate, to be honest with you, but I don't necessarily mind. Again, I'm a bit on the fence with it. Like I thought Traore come on against Tottenham, didn't do anything. Same against Preston. Other than his goal, didn't really impress me to say he wants to be here or do anything. Like the one thing that I didn't get is like again going back to like that midfield thing we were talking about is like we could all see like we were getting overrun. Like why is Dendoncker come on in like the 97th minute?
I agree.
Whatever you think of Dendoncker as a footballer, and again, I'd probably rate him higher than a lot of Wolves players because Wolves Twitter do, should I say. We've got a negative opinion on him. But the one thing he'll do is he'll give you legs. He'll get around the pitch. And like for me, there's no reason to bring Kwang and Podence on at that stage. You can even bring Dendoncker on and go to like a 5-3-2. Whatever you like, just shore it up. And like Dendoncker as well with the corners and set pieces, had height. And I just thought it was a weird. He didn't need to go like for like with the wingers. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, innit? If we go out the game and win 1-0, no one's talking about the subs, are they? It's just a moment of madness. And again, like watching it back, it seemed to feel like in the stadium, I don't know about you guys, like it felt like the when Hwang chipped it up in the air, it all happened in real slow motion. But actually watching it back on Twitter, it's like it's happening like a split second. You just knew what was happening, though, didn't you? As soon as the ball went up in the air, you knew it was going to fucking end up in the back of the net. Like, and it was just, like I say, it went in the back of the net, and I said "fuck off" and walked out the ground.
Yeah,
just so
hit the back of the net now, and I didn't feel anything. I was just like, A, what a goal. B, fuck off.
But what was your thought on the goalkeeping? Do you think the finish was just that good?
No, you can't blame the keeper there. Right?
Yeah. I was just
having to go to SAR today, and I'm like, literally, fuck. Like,
I was half expecting Matt to say,
he's got to catch that.
He's got to be diving.
Who I did think was poor, Sarkic to the Preston goal. I thought we should have shifted his.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, thank you. Dave just thinks I've got an agenda. He just loves
as a Power League's goalkeeper myself, I've got to say.
Little swat. In the post-match press conference, Dave, Bruno Lage revealed that Willy Bolly just didn't bother turning up to the game. I want to get both of your thoughts on this, but it looks like he's edging closer to a move to Nottingham Forest. Bruno said that he's trying to force a move. He just hasn't turned up. I wanted him in the squad. Dave, what are your thoughts on this? Willy Bolly's been, wonderful servant for Wolves over the past 5 years, but has he tarnished his legacy at Wolves?
Yeah, there's two sides to this. I think the first one, as a Wolves fan, and this being a Wolves player, obviously really disappointing. And I think he has definitely tarnished his time at the club. We saw it even with the likes of Wayne Hennessy. When he left the club, we said that he refused to play in a game when we were in League One, and a lot of people don't respect Wayne Hennessy and don't respect the time at the club because of that. And I think this is now the same with Bolly, because whenever anyone in the future is going to mention Willy Bolly, you're going to think, oh, what a prick, Flip side to that, two players that Wolves are looking at, Kaladzic and Boubacar Traore, have both refused to train and both refused to play for their clubs as well. So, obviously, Stuttgart and Mets fans are going to be pissed off in the same way that we are. So, I sort of get it. And I sort of, I can see both sides to it, basically. But from Bolly, as a Wolves fan, and Bolly, the Bolly situation, I'm disappointed with. But it's sort of happening with two players that we're bringing in as well at the same time.
Mm. George, do you not just feel, look, the deal's close, just come and sit on your hands for 90 minutes and you're gone? What are your thoughts on it?
It's tough, isn't it? Because I sort of get what Dave's saying there as well. For me, it's he's checked out, and he's got this move to Forest, and I'm guessing, you know what, he's probably going to end up getting a fucking pay rise the way he's going, the fucking madman chairman out of it. So he's probably just thinking, I just want to, I'm going to get my Forest move, and it does leave a bit of it does stain it a little bit. It really does. It sort of irks me a little bit that he's done that, but I don't. It's not the biggest crime in the world, in my opinion. Like, he hasn't come out publicly slated the club. By the way, I'm not advocating what he's done. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. But, fucking got in the past, like Hennessy refusing to play, making it very openly.
And we wouldn't have known unless Bruno come out and said it.
No, exactly. Stephen Fletcher in the cinema, head's gone, fucking prick. But I can't say that about Bolly. I generally can't. I just think I would have gone about it differently. But player power has changed so much in even like the last 3-4 years. Like, the players seem to have a lot more power now over the clubs than they've ever had before. Whether that's a right or wrong thing, again, that's another debate for another show, probably.
I'm glad you said that. You didn't say our generation then, because you were still when you were kicking about, it was Sir Stanley Matthews was still on the ball, mate.
Oh my word.
Honestly, I don't know why I come on this podcast. I've been fucking violated by both,
Stanley
Matthews. I'm born in 1991. It can all come back. Like for me, it's just the players have probably got too much power these days. But it's I think it'll be very naive and I think it'll be very harsh of Wolves fans to now say Bolly's this, Bolly's that. Like, he's been an incredible servant for us. Like, incredible player at his peak.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he should have gone about it differently, but we are where we are, and he's not going to be here come the end of the window. So,
Jord, we've all been in jobs where we've handed our notice in, and the last week you are coasting, you're doing absolutely nothing, you're not even lifting a finger. Do you think it's maybe a case that he's just woke up and thought, I'm going Monday, what's the point?
He's probably thought, I've got a medical in Nottingham on Tuesday or Wednesday. If I pick up a niggle, I could scupper the move. That's probably what he's thinking. And, he's in his last year of contract in with Wolves, I think.
Yeah.
Forest are going to offer him a 2-3 year deal. He's just thought, why risk it? And again, I'm not advocating it, but I do get it at the same time. Like, I'm playing devil's advocate. I do get it. I really do. From
an emotional point of view, from a Wolves fan, you're fuming because it's like, well, how dare you do that against our great club? But then we can't be overjoyous that Traore and Kalajic are doing the same. But I've seen some fans as well saying, how dare he do this? We stood by him through his injury crisis. He had long COVID. The club could have got rid of him. Like, what are they expecting to do? Take him out onto the Waterloo Road and fucking run him over because he's had COVID? Like, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get why, players have injuries. They're under contract. That's what the contract's for. Just because we've paid them whilst they're injured and they're not getting an appearance fee, doesn't mean we own the world. I just don't understand it.
If it happened when he had the long COVID, he recovered and then requested a transfer straight away, then I sort of get it. But, he's been at the club for another year since that anway. Was it a little bit, was it like Michael Kitely? He was injured for that time, and then as soon as he come back, he wanted to leave the club.
I was going to say, sorry, Dave, the real life scenario about it now is like Fofana with Leicester, isn't it? He got a big beat after his leg break, and he's just refusing to play in his prime, and I think that's completely different. I think that's bang out of order what he's doing, but
Fofana only played a handful of games near the end of last season, and now he'd already spoke to Chelsea in France during the summer, and now he's refused to play. It is different, but like you said, Jord, player power is at the helm, and whether we like it or not, we're going to benefit from it, and it's also going to go against us. But let's just touch on the Betmate pot before we move on to Bournemouth versus Wolves. So shout out to Jord, who was the only member of Talking Wolves to take home a bit of cash, a measly £3.35. However, Jord, if you would have picked Neves captain instead of Nunes captain, you would have won £150 and buy an absolute bus ride. But to be fair to you, mate, you're doing bits on this app, aren't you?
Yeah, I come second on the Arsenal-Fulham game the day before. Got 150 quid, so that was nice. I ended up picking... I had Saliba and Gabriel, who got the goal and assist. I had Odegaard... I had Gabriel captain. I had Odegaard vice-captain, and he got a goal as well, and Mitrovic as well. So, yeah, I missed out by half a point of the £250 pot, which is frustrating, but we go again on Wednesday.
It is, and it's good for when we do head-to-heads because Dave and I have fallen off a little bit. We had a good start last year, but our performances have dwindled. So hopefully you can fly the flag for us. Dave, Bournemouth versus Wolves on Wednesday night. Bournemouth coming back off the 9-0 stuffing at Anfield. Wolves still yet without a win. It's got 0-0 written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I said on the preview, I predicted 1-1. Now, imagine Wolves Twitter if we ever lost 6, 7, 8, 9-0. Like, you'd have to deactivate one, yeah.
I'll just close the channel down. What's the point?
It would be so dangerous, man. So dangerous. Yeah, I mean, this is a good. Is it a good time to play Bournemouth? Scott Parker threw them under the bus a lot, even after the game, with some of his comments. So they're going to be all over the place. And if you want to get a win at the moment, it's going to be against, Bournemouth, and hopefully we can kickstart the season. As I said earlier, we've got a tough run of fixtures coming up after Saturday. And I would go attacking for it. I would change the formation. I'd go 4-2-3-1 and just try and get as many players forward as we can and try and get a couple of goals.
Jord, surely we can beat Bournemouth.
This is Wolves, though. That's the problem, isn't it? Put it politely. Didn't this happen? Didn't Southampton lose? Didn't they lose 9 to Man U and then they played us, or was it against Leicester game when they come to Molineux afterwards? And was it 0-0? Was it the Leicester one a couple of years ago?
I don't remember.
They come just
I'll have to find it.
That was that Blues who lost 9 to Bournemouth or 7 or 8, and then they shut the next game and just parked the bus, and yeah.
I think it's possibly the worst time to play Bournemouth. I just do. Like, the only way is up in it for them, and you just know what you're going to get. They're going to be stodgy. They're going to be awkward. They're going to be difficult to break down. They're probably going to play 10 men behind the ball, and then be difficult to break down. And we don't break teams down. So, look, on paper we should be winning the game. If we don't win the game, all that Bruno out or whatever on Twitter is going to get even worse. I just pray we win. I pray we win. I'm not confident at all, but I do pray we get the win.
Dave, if I was to say to you, we got a point against Bournemouth and a point against Southampton, what do you think the narrative would be around Bruno Lage's tenure at Wolves? What would yours be as well?
That would be 5 points from a possible 39, and that's absolutely embarrassing. What, two draws? Or a draw on Wednesday and a draw on Saturday?
Yeah.
And then you're going on to games against Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. Mate, he's going to be without a job. Simple as.
How many points did you say?
If we draw those 2 games,
yeah,
no, that'll be 6 points for a possible 30. No, yeah, 6
18.
points for a possible 39.
Last season.
Oh,
if
last season.
Last season.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
Do you count last season though? I know. I've seen that debate on Twitter.
Well,
today.
I didn't. When we're talking, like, people were talking, like, after 4 games or 3 games, let's say, I saw positives from the first 3 performances, and people go mad saying, we haven't won in this many games, and I thought, yeah, but that's last season. But when you're putting it into perspective like that, we still haven't won this season either. We've got 2 points out of a possible 12. He got even if he draws an X2, that's 4 points out of a possible 18. That's still crap.
It's awful.
So, yeah, so
the teams he played.
But then the issue for Fosun is, do you give him more time because he's built this new system? You've just spent a shitload of money backing him. It's going to be a difficult time for him. I think. I don't know. I don't want to think about it because I'm confident we're going to get at least one or two wins this week. But if we're here this time next week and we're only 2 points better off, then it's going to be a vile podcast.
Yeah, I'd say don't judge it based off last season as well. Don't carry it on if the problems aren't the same, but they're like
they are the same, and
they're exactly the same. But I don't. Yeah,
sorry, someone was talking about the back, like saying nothing's changed since he's changed formation. And like suggesting we go back to back 5. I think the formation's fine, and I think the back 4 is defensively is doing a hell of a lot better than I expected. It's still just the same issues, creating the opportunities and putting them in the back of the net.
I don't think, Jordan, you may agree or disagree, that Fosun won't look at we've backed Bruno. They will think we've backed the squad, we've invested in the squad, and if you get a good enough manager, they'll the players are there at his disposal.
Yeah, we were last season. We didn't really. Well, everyone knows we didn't really invest. We probably haven't had a good window for a long time. This has been our best window since the one we came up, if not even better than that one. Superseded it. Foes and I need to play. They haven't signed Mateus Nunes and Guedes and said, look, we're going to come 14th this year. Is that okay? Yeah. Like literally, it's like we're going for whatever that 7th, whatever you think the art of the possible is. We want Europe. We want to improve. We want to do this. We won't be spending another £20 million on Kladzic. We won't be spending potentially another 10 on the midfielder as well.
Traore.
Traore, I forgot his name then. Sorry. They won't be doing that. I just feel like you say, because the problems are the same, you can sort of equate for what happened last season. And like the say about insanity, he's just like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Yes, the formation's changed, but for me, I think it's made us even less effective going forward because the wing backs used to join in and we used to attack as a 5. Like the fullbacks they're playing 10, 15, if not 20 yards further back. They're not really joining in on the attack. So I think we've got even less players when we're going forward than we did last season. And that's the system. I still back the system. I just think you need to either put different players within the system or you just tweak the system. So like I said, you push Nunes 15 yards further up, put him in a 10, or you do go to that 4-2-3-1 and just have a go at teams. Literally.
Yeah. Just have the fullbacks bombing on, but just have someone sat in front of the back two and just drop a little bit deeper so you've got cover. Against a team like Bournemouth anyway, doing it against Man City would be suicidal, but to do it against a lesser team, it's got to happen. But Betmate pot, chaps. So the Betmate pot is the Prem Wednesday treble. So that includes Bournemouth versus Wolves, Arsenal versus Villa, Man City versus Nottingham Forest. 3 tasty fixtures there. 3 Midlands clubs. It's £2 in, and your chance to win a share of £400. So let's talk you through my team. So I've gone for Dean Henderson in goal. He's in inspired form, and I reckon he will. Might not, he's against City, so won't keep a clean sheet, but I think he's going to score a lot of points in terms of saves. And I've got Cancelo and Gabriel, Odegaard, vice captain Gundogan, captain Haaland, and Guedes up front. I think there's a lot of firepower in there, and I think there's goals in the defence. So that's my reasoning. Dave, talk me through a little bit about your team.
Yeah. We're going with a goalkeeper. I'm not sure, and I've gone with Emi Martinez in goal against Arsenal. I did look at Dean Henderson, but I just thought his numbers were inflated after the Spurs game from the penalty save. Cancelo and Gabriel at the back, Odegaard and Neves. I backed Neves at the weekend. He was my captain. He did bits, to be fair. And Haaland up top with Gabriel Jesus.
Jord, would you like to talk us through your team for the Prem Wednesday pot?
So I've just gone for the clean sheet of Ederson. Not thinking about save points, just fucking get the clean sheet, start off with, get the 6 points and you build from there. So I've gone Saliba and Gabriel, because they've done me well on the weekend. Goal and assist from them too. I've actually captained Gundogan. I've gone for Mateus Nunes for the 3rd week in a row. He's bound to put one of these headers in. Then I've got Erling Haaland as vice, and I've got Gonçalo Guedes as my other striker as well.
Wonderful. So, well, hopefully one of us does all right, because I'm sick of me and Dave just getting nowhere near the top, and Jordan playing in other pots has been doing well. But don't forget as well, you might be able to pick your team now, but you've still got until 5 minutes before kick-off to change your team. So if there's a player that you've selected isn't playing, you can swap him out. And also, if you use our link in the description down below, you'll get a £5 in free bet once you stake a cash bet. So that's £2 in, and your chance to win a share of £400. And of course, with this, please be gamble aware. Oh, another game this week, chaps. Coming thick and fast. Dave, you must be absolutely shattered. I know I am with all the content. Taking it out of us. It's Wolves versus Southampton. 2 struggling teams. Hopefully, though, by then, Dave, we've got at least 2 players through the door.
At least, yeah. I think transfer deadline day, it'll be done. might see a new core to the squad because a lot of players are linked with moves away as well. It'll be interesting. I think obviously it's hard to predict or talk about the game too much before the midweek fixtures, but yeah, it's going to be a busy week for Wolves, and like you said, lots of content coming out before then. But Southampton, as far as I can remember, historically seems to have been promoted without good form against Molineux. So I'm hoping that we could continue that and get another win this weekend.
Jord, I've said this about 4 times this season already. One of those fixtures that you earmark as a must-win.
I'd say so, because before the start of the season, they were one of my tips to potentially be in and around the relegation zone. I don't think I've quite put them in the bottom 3, but I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're much good.
4 points so far. Yeah.
2 more than us, which says a lot about our start, doesn't it? But I look at the squad and I just think it's weaker than it has been in recent years with Southampton, and I don't think they've ever been particularly strong anyway. It's a game. I think, look, we should be winning that game on paper. If we do or not is another thing. I think if we don't beat Bournemouth and we don't score in like the first 10, 15 minutes against Southampton, Molineux can be horrible in terms. It can be toxic, and I've just got a feeling it's about to turn. And again, hopefully we beat Bournemouth and we beat Southampton and everything's sunshine and rainbows, as I say. But yeah, I've just got a horrible feeling about these next 2 games. I'm not confident whatsoever.
Dave, is there anyone from that Southampton team that worries you as a real threat? Ward-Prowse, obviously, in free kicks. Che Adams, who started the season well. Joe Aribo, who's a favourite on the pod.
Yeah. Ward-Prowse, obviously, for the dead ball situation. And I thought his overall game wasn't that great last time we played them. But, he can just come up with that little bit of magic. It was a great goal last time. I know you're still disappointed about the goalkeeping, Matt.
I
know I'm going to jinx it. I've just looked at our form against them in the league, and it is absolutely ridiculous, like how good it is. Very quickly count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1 loss in 12 against them in the league. And a lot of those are wins. So announce a 1-0 defeat.
Remember when they put 6 past us?
Yeah.
That was the last time.
Marek Saganoshki, hat-trick.
Yeah, we've lost once since then in the league against them.
I remember the 3-0 where was it Craddock and Sam Vogt scored as well in the championship.
Yeah. No, we never beat him 3-0.
Who was that then? Was it Sheffield United? Someone scored a penalty.
We have beaten 3-0, but that was in 1980. That was more Jord's.
That was it. That was the one that Jord was on about. I think he went there on his 24th birthday that game.
Yeah, probably. I don't even think my mum and dad had met in 1980.
Oh, dearie me. Jord, how many points do we need for the next 2 games?
6.
Dave,
simple as.
No,
I was just saying, simple as 6.
Dave?
4 at least, but he's got to win.
On, mate.
No.
The whip.
No, he's got to beat Bournemouth, though, because if it's a draw against Bournemouth, I don't think we'll beat Southampton.
It's got to be convincing against Bournemouth. I don't like people say I'll just get the first win on the board, but again, it'll paper over the craps. Yeah. Cracks. Bloody hell. There is a Betmate pot for this game. It's a Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, so it'll include all the Saturday 3 p.m. games. It's £3 in, and it's your chance to win a share of a massive £600. And of course, the same with the pot before. If you use our code down below and you're a new customer, if you do stake a cash bet, you'll get £5 in free bets. Of course, again, be gamble aware. Moving on to the final segment of the podcast, and it's your questions. So thanks to those who sent all the questions in on Twitter. Really do appreciate them. Some really good ones this week, so thanks for that. Joey's asked, where do you place Moutinho, Neves and Nunes midfield across the rest of the league?
Jord mentioned this earlier, didn't you? It's up there, isn't it? As a midfield 3, it's got to be sort of, I'm talking top 7, I reckon.
Jord?
Yeah.
I think probably higher, I think
better than United's, I suppose, isn't it?
Better than Tottenham. Like for me, like Højbjerg and Bentancur, I think it's better than all that. Maybe I'm being a bit of a snob and a bit biased, but put it honest, Liverpool's midfield 3 against Bournemouth, even they'd snap the hands off to have our midfield three over that midfield three they've got.
What's Liverpool's strongest midfield three?
Thiago, Fabinho, and
I suppose that's all right.
Henderson probably.
City's is better. It's up there, you know.
City's is better. Liverpool's, Chelsea's maybe.
Depends who they got when they're fit, isn't it? Still think Kante's a player. It's got. I think it stands up against most, doesn't it, in European football? Like you could probably transfer it. You could ask it about any team, and like I say, technically as good as anything. But as it's shown on the weekend, the mobility, not the case.
Really sure. Dean has asked, and it's not a Wolves question, but it's something I'd love to hear your thoughts on, chaps. I'll start with you, Jord. What do you think of the Richarlison incident at the weekend? Dean says his opinion is I'm all for that kind of stuff, whether it's the showboating and the booting he got.
It's one of them, and I think my narrative on Richarlison is I think he's a bit of a cock anyway. So that sort of stuff is the fact you probably want to see him get kicked into Bro's head. I'm not against it. Like, you know, people used to laud like JJ Okocha when he did the rainbow flick over Ray Parlour and all. You know what I mean? Like, you'd like to see that sort of stuff. But for me, it was just like there was no one around him when he started doing the kick ups. It was like he didn't like flick it over someone, or it was just. It's a little bit disrespectful, but I think it was dealt with in the right manner. Like, Brennan Johnson twatted him, and then Nico Williams pretty much dropped the elbow on him when he landed on him. Like, if you do that sort of stuff, I know what sort of people have been saying in the media today about you're going to end up with someone getting sent off or someone getting a broken leg or whatever, but it's on them, innit? Like, you know, if they start doing kick-ups and whatever and someone snaps you, well, it's on you.
What do you reckon, Dave? You a fan of it?
I'm all for it, mate. I fucking love it. It's class. So, mate, if Neto or whoever started doing that, mate, like around the worlds and that.
When you 2-0 up as well with 10 minutes to go, EAP skills.
EAP skills on the left-hand side. It's just, he's taking the piss, but yeah, it's demoralising. But what would you rather have done? You lose 9-0 Anfield or have your dad doing keepy ups on the side? What's worse?
I love it, mate. It's like, you know, you're 2-0 up and you're getting into the opponent's head. You're really rubbing them up the wrong way. And you saw that. And he won a free kick. So, like, what's a ding? So, what is it? Correct. Yeah. So, I don't see the problem. I'm all for it. I think it's funny. And I contrary to what you think, Jord, I think Richarlison's jokes. So, perhaps that's your age, though. Reaper's asked, would we take Ross Barkley on a free? Dave? He's just left Chelsea on a free, so.
Yeah. Depends on wages, I think. I'd have him as a squad option, I think.
Jord?
No. Too much baggage. Too much baggage.
Like what?
Like he's been out, like done like fucking. It's just too much baggage. He's over it, and I think he's sort of, you know. I just don't. Not for me. I don't think he fits in the squad. I don't think he fits in the thing. But he's probably still one of the best performances I've ever seen. And this is me showing my age a little bit now. Just to pick the narrative. When he was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, when we were in the Championship.
Oh my God. He was there in like 99, wasn't he?
I don't think it was in black and white, I think. No, but it was one of the best performances I've seen down Molyneux.
Commentary only.
Playing for Sheffield Wednesday. I've always liked him as a player, but I do think, you know, he's in the media for all the wrong reasons. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing or maybe it's unwarranted. But no, it's just too much baggage for me.
Screams a move to Turkey or something, isn't it? But
Besiktas.
Dele Alli.
Yeah. Ballers. He's also asked, what's your favourite snack at the Molyneux? Mine's Dave has a party.
So if we talk us, I never eat at the ground, but it's a Balti pie probably. If I had to buy something.
Same. It's got to be the same. Jord, what's yours?
Probably a sausage roll. I had one in the Carabao Cup.
And it's £4.50 though, or something.
I didn't buy it. My mate brought it. He was like, "Go on, I'll get you a pie." And I was like, "It's too hot for a pie." And he brought me back a sausage roll, which was still piping hot, but it was okay.
To be fair though, they've got Madri on tap now. It's wonderful, and like the service is pretty good. They've got in the North Bank anyway. Got a lot of
Pepsi though. It's Coke Zero. It's dreadful, man. Absolutely dreadful.
Ben Smith has asked if we get Traore from Mets, does that mean we could see Dendoncker leave? Well, as the Athletic have reported this evening that Wolves have rejected an £8 million bid from Everton. So, Jord, can you see him leaving if Traore comes in?
Yeah, but I want more than 8 million. And I know there's people on Twitter saying, "Oh, they'll drive him to Everton," all this sort of stuff. He's still better than £8 million. I think that, you know, I think we'll be If they offered it 12, 13 million and we get in Traore back through, fine with me. I'd be a bit gutted that it didn't work out because I do think, like I say, I think he's a better player than we give him credit for, but it hasn't really worked out at Wolves. So,
Dave,
good luck to him.
Yeah, with Kundal as well. Kundal going out on loan, so
yeah, that's my only concern. But I think you get Traore in. I think Ronan will stay now anyway. I'm not saying Ronan's the answer, but he's going to be your fifth choice midfielder now anyway. I think Donk goes, you get your money back on him. I think it's a good deal, to be fair. And Traore comes in, so yeah.
Azza Sahota has asked, how much was the suit, Dave, and where can I get it from so I can avoid the place?
Azza Sahota. How much? The suit was actually from a very well-established suit company in Wolverhampton called Blooms. Any well-groomed man will know. But whoever asked the question, I use the clothes that they wear to wash my car with, to be fair. That's the sort of level we're talking in.
Oh, my God. Can't be saying like that, mate. With the cost of living crisis. And you're saying stuff like that. You're so out of touch, man. So
no, you know who said that to me? I took it off. You know the Dorky Wanderers manager?
Yeah.
On TikTok. He's like, wears D squared and everything, and everyone's taking the piss out of his coat. And he turns around to the fans and he says, I'll wash my motor with those sort of coats that you're wearing, mate. It's a tapping. It's a tapping.
Fabio Silva Goat has asked, what's worse, Bruno's subs, Hwang's footballing ability, or Dave's suit?
What's with the D-size suit?
I thought Dave looked quite sharp. If I'm honest.
You know what? If people knew the truth about that suit, mate, people wouldn't be slagging it off. I tell you now. I had good comments about that suit, and my day at court ended very well. All right.
Did you win?
Yeah. It's got community service.
15 love.
So what's worse out of Bruno's
subs, Hwang's footballing ability, and Dave's? Did your suit have checks on it, Dave? Like checkers?
Yeah, man. Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, you look like a fucking Battenberg, bro.
I
think I was the best dressed there, and it wasn't even my wedding. So.
And your missus was there, so that's a bit peak.
I'd go for Bruno subs after the weekend.
Dave?
Well, it's not my suit. Bruno subs
mate, you're so butthurt about this, right?
It's obviously Hwanky Jans.
I don't have an opinion on it.
Of course you don't.
Cool. Dave suit. Carby has asked, do you think Osorio gets into the first team if we ever sign him? Even if it's just on the bench. I think if Hwang goes, then yeah. If Hwang was to go. No. Richard Fletcher has asked, when do we start worrying about the poor form of Pedro Neto? Is Bruno's sister? Bruno's sister is not hindering him. Is Bruno's sister hindering him?
Word.
Bloody hell. No wonder he can't perform. I think he's not right for the current system that we play. And I know, Jord, we spoke about this many a times.
Yeah.
He's not cute enough to play on the inside inverted. He's great at driving and getting the ball to the byline and getting a crossing. But in terms of like coming in field, I just don't think he's that type of player. What do you reckon, Jord?
Yeah, same as you. I don't think he's cute enough to play off the right, and that's not. Probably get pelts now saying, he's saying he's not a good player. Like, I was really happy seeing him line up at the start of the game yesterday on the left-hand side of the pitch because I thought, brilliant, he's going to run Trippier. And every time he got one-on-one with Trippier, he did run him and got a cross in and whatever. I just don't, I just don't think it's, perfect for him. He's a fantastic footballer. I still truly believe that, but we just haven't found the right system for him. And if you're asking me at the minute, whether it be Neto or Guedes or whoever would be my first pick, Guedes is the first name for me in those wide areas. If you're asking me to put on the pitch,
do you think that? And I'll ask you in a sec, Dave. Do you think that now we've got the big man in, or pretty much all but done? Do you think that they could swap and almost play so they get into the byline, and he gives you another option with Traore then?
Yeah, we need to. Well, you need to be using him. I mean, again, I professed last week. I haven't seen a lot of him. Kladzic, but I'm guessing he's good in the air, being 6'7". So you've got a big target to it. You've got to start hitting it, haven't you, and start using it as a backboard as well. So naturally, getting to the byline, putting the ball back in the box, he's playing actual more traditional out and out wingers is probably what we're going to see in the next few weeks when he gets integrated into the squad. But I still feel like there'll be a Jimenez hangover where we'll still see Jimenez starting majority of games up until the World Cup break.
Yeah, I agree. Dave, are you worried about the form of Pedro Neto, and do you think Bruno's system is hindering him?
I don't think the system hinders him, and I don't know what it is. Maybe when the window shuts and all this speculation goes away, we might see somebody, who's playing with a lot less pressure on him. I thought he picked up some decent pockets of space and tested Nick Pope a couple of times yesterday. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think we've got to consider, it took him a long time to come back from his injury. Didn't have a solid run in the team last season. But it's frustrating because I thought pre-season he was shit hot. So, it's disappointing that he's not sort of got any goal contributions as of yet this season.
It is a shame. Do you think that Arsenal could come in from him in the next couple of days?
I don't think so. I don't think Wolves would, unless they come in and, like we said, 50 million. I think obviously you have to accept it. But with his last few performances, I'd be tempted with possibly a tiny bit less than that now. But Wolves can't get a replacement in for a similar value. I don't think, not this late in the window.
Listening to the Express and Star podcast, William Keane said that he believes that it would cost more than the 55 million pound that's been branded about. George, do you think that there could be a bit of movement for Neto in the last couple of days? I know that some transfer checker shitty Twitter account or whatever, you know these ones that aren't necessarily posting sources, but throw enough shit at a wall, some of it will come true.
Yeah.
Had said that Pedro Neto has asked to leave Wolves. Can you see it happening?
Not this late on in the window. And I think we're well within our rights to ask for north of 50, 60 million quid. Like, if Anthony Gordon is 60 million quid, Pedro Neto is worth 60 million quid and more. So it's like, I don't think we're being unreasonable. Well, I've seen Arsenal fans, and again, I fucking hate Arsenal fans on social media. Like, they're all
it's unbearable, bro.
Fucking horrible. But you should let Neto go for this. Like, we'll give you fucking Cedric Suarez. Oh, fucking great. Yeah, we want him, don't we?
He's just Johnny with Aries. I'm convinced of that. You can have this guy, Reece Nelson, and we'll give you like 20 million and you should take it. It's like, just fuck off. We don't want you we don't want him.
I don't want Reece Nelson here. He tried to move to my girlfriend about 10 years ago. So.
Did he?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so there we go. He ain't coming because his big bad Dave's in the area.
Yeah, mate. Dave will run him out of town.
No, but I think he's got 2027 isn't it, his contract. Like, we should be asking for the money that Anthony Gordon's going for and more. So Arsenal, if you want him, fucking pay up or shut up.
Yeah. Wolverhampton isn't big enough for Reece Nelson and the Maltese Matador. It's just he'll run him out. He'll run him out of town. It's similar to the Zaha situation. I was listening to Simon Jordan talk about this. It's like you've got Arsenal fans saying, "Well, 40 million for Zaha, you should be taking it." He's like, well, no, because to Crystal Palace, Wilf Zaha is worth more than, and maybe a little bit different now. He's got a year left in his contract, but. Will Zaha is worth as much as Crystal Palace value him. Pedro Neto is worth as much as Wolves value him. So, yeah, I don't think it'll happen. Maybe after January, if he's been to the World Cup and if he does and he has a great time, stick another 20 million on it. But I can't see him going and featuring much. Not how strong they are in the forward positions. That's all the questions for today, folks, and that concludes the end of the podcast. It's a bit of a bumper episode, but I've enjoyed that one. Chaps, absolute pleasure as always. Thank you for joining me. Dave, where can people find you should they wish?
It's Dave As a Party on Twitter and Instagram.
Back on Instagram.
Yeah, mate. Heads down.
This guy, man. Because he knows Reece Nelson's about. He's gone off private. He's like getting his dick measuring competition. Jord, where can people find you should they wish?
Jord7 on Twitter and Instagram. If Dave's thrown it out, but I'm not very active on Instagram, so just follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, I've looked at Jord's profile, and there's some picturesque photos, but none of him. Funnily enough,
one of the Berlin Walls on there as well, Jordan.
Yeah. me with my air raid shelter in 1941.
Oh, he was there for the cup final at Wembley.
I think it's all over.
him and Dazzling Dave growing up together in nappies. Oh boy. I'm M Cooper Wrights on Twitter and Instagram, Matt Cooper Wrights on YouTube. We are talking Wolves across all socials. Don't forget to let us know what you think of this podcast as well. What's your thoughts on the Bolly situation and everything else? Let us know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, and we will see you all on Thursday evening for the deadline day stream from around about 8 o'clock, we feel. 8 o'clock, all up until the deadline. We've got some very special guests lined up, so make sure you're there, join us and support us. But until next time, take care and look after yourselves.